Hi guys, so I just got back from my East African book tour. I went to Uganda, Tanzania, Kenya, and then I also went to Mozambique. I was supposed to go to Namibia, but it got postponed. As my South African friend Sam K will say, you must kill a goat. Every time we talked about the obstacles that I went through when I was planning my book tour, she'll be like, Arisa, you must have offended your ancestors in some kind of way, so you must kill a goat in an offer of sacrifice to appease them. She's such a joker. But the thing is, I completely understand where she's coming from because she comes from a structured environment where everything works. But me, I'm Nigerian. You wake up in the morning and you're ready to eat problems for breakfast, but you know that you have to be nimble enough to be able to navigate them. I remember the first time that I made the decision that I was going to do this East African book tour. I was getting my makeup done by one of my favorite makeup artists, Patience from House of Tara Abuja. And she must have thought I was crazy because I basically started talking to myself. Now, I was reviewing my goal list for 2018 in my head. And I'd said I was going to go to East Africa for my book tour. But for some reason, I had kept putting it off and I was waiting for my second book to be done before I went. But in that moment, I was like, actually, what am I waiting for? Just do it. Just start. And I started making phone calls and sending emails. And she was just looking at me like, wow, okay. Is this how you just come up with this sort of decision? But yeah, there's plenty gist from the tour. So I want to do a series of videos that basically give you a behind the scenes sort of feel of what it takes to put together a book tour and some of the lessons that I've learned. Misha sent a driver for me with my name and everything to the airport. Good morning, sir. So it turns out we're getting on a dinghy again to get on a boat again to have lunch. Kind of love it.
So you know Dar es Salaam is one of the most beautiful cities in Africa.
You guys, I promise that I'm working. Like, I had a book with me. I'm working.
This is how we work in Dar es Salaam. This is work.
People are always asking me, I said, so how does this thing make money? How are you going to fund it? So it boils down to the business model, right? So first of all, before you even get to the business model, you need proof of concept. Should I even go to these markets? Does anybody know me there? Do they even care? So looking at my Instagram insights and everything, I see that there are more people following me from East Africa and sending me emails saying, oh my God, I've read your book. It really changed my life. When are you coming to my country? So you kind of get an indication that there's a demand for your work in those countries, right? Thank you, piracy. That was a mixed blessing because obviously I cried about it for a while. But then I realized that it actually helped to build my brand in those countries. So why do I go on book tours? It is a brand building exercise. One of my biggest goals in life is to be a Pan-African brand on a global stage. So going to these places increases like my market potential. Now, what are the revenue streams and what's the cost structure? So in terms of revenue, book sales, ticket sales to the events, online course sales, personal finance strategy sessions, right? So 4 streams of income. So when I go to these countries, I'm not just selling books, I'm making sure that I'm getting customers for all the other revenue streams, right? The second thing is the cost structure. So you see me flying from one country to the other. So there's airline tickets, there's hotel accommodation, there's things to think about like the venues and all of that. Now, like any business, your goal is to increase your revenue streams and find ways to decrease your costs so that you have greater profit margins. And so I'll talk about the fact that you need partnerships. It's easy for you to, if let's say I had a lot of resources, maybe I'll be like, yes, let's get this venue and let's just, pay $3,000 for it. And let's pay a PR company so that we can have like media in every country that we go to. But if you add all of it up, you have to ask yourself, will it be worth it in the end in terms of profit? So one of the biggest lessons that I learned in this cost reduction process is price is what you pay, value is what you get. So sometimes what I'm giving in terms of payments for these costs is not actual cash. It's an exchange of value. Sometimes that's based off of, relationships. Sometimes it's about thinking about, okay, this is something that I want. What is it that I can give the other person that would be of equal value to them? I'll give an example. Second thing that is very, very important for these book tours to be successful, brand partnerships. And this thing is hard. Finding brands that are willing to sponsor different aspects of your book tour is difficult, because trust me, I chopped plenty of lying. I chopped plenty no's. Like for every one yes that I got, I probably got like 10 no's. And that's fine, because it helps you to build resilience. It helps you to think about, okay, maybe I'm not articulating the value that I'm going to offer properly. How am I bringing my vision to life so that the other person can buy into it? So for example, DMP Travels is a brand that I had noticed on Instagram a few years ago. They're very creative because they're not just selling tickets, they're selling a travel experience at an affordable rate. So in a way, our brands are aligned because travel is a huge part of my brand. So we started to do some work together in terms of South Africa. So we had a working relationship. So when my East African book tour came, we had approached a few airlines, and I basically told one, listen, see this as a marketing cost for your business, and I will find a way to convert my audience into your customers, because my audience are coming to me anyway for ways where they can live a fantastic life at an affordable rate. One who offers a travel experience for middle income budgets. So we decided that we're going to work together, and trust me, she was like the best travel partner ever. Her and her husband, like it was more, sometimes when you're building these relationships, it's even more than money. They prayed for me. We sat down. They took up a huge chunk, a percentage of the cost of my travel. And in exchange, I was helping them to sell travel packages and also create brand awareness by leveraging on my relationship to create more publicity for them. So it was an optimal exchange of value, right? Then there's the clothes. So you want to look fabulous on the book tour. You have people like Lady Bieber calling me and saying, listen, you're doing your East African book tour. I'm going to dress you for it, and creating actual specific outfits that I'll wear. And so she creates them for my book tour, and then she now creates more units so that as I'm wearing it on the book tour, she's selling those units. So she's using me to market her products. There's CP Woman Lagos. There's Adesoil, like doing the same thing. So my fabulous wardrobe, if I say so myself, was from these fantastic Nigerian designers who, believed in my brand and, took it upon themselves to make sure that they curated my look for the East African book tour. That's another cost that's removed. Things like hotel accommodation. You guys, I must have sugar in my mouth because, listen, for example, Mozambique. I go to Mozambique. I was only supposed to stay there for 2 days before I was going to Namibia. But since Namibia got postponed, I now decided to stay in Mozambique for the entire week. And I got to do work with CSR, work with the chairman of Vodacom Mozambique, and I got to meet the mayor of Pemba in Mozambique. It was really amazing. So I needed to stay in a hotel. So I meet the general manager of the Avani Pemba Beach Hotel, and I basically tell him, listen, I love this place. I want to stay here. And I convinced him, I negotiate with him, and we come to an agreement. Listen, guys, I stayed in a $400 a night room that was sea facing, right? Beautiful, beautiful room for less than $100 a night, including breakfast. Now, all I had to do was sell Mozambique and their hotel to my audience, because Mozambique is one of the most beautiful places in Africa, but not a lot of Nigerians go there. We had that conversation, we had that exchange, and I found a way to reduce my costs. In Tanzania, I was staying in a hotel for a week. I got an organization called the Entrepreneurs Organization. It's the biggest peer-to-peer network in the world that's for entrepreneurs. And so their Tanzanian chapter had this power breakfast for me where I got to speak to entrepreneurs in their network, and they paid for my hotel stay in Tanzania. So I didn't actually have to pay for hotel in Tanzania. So you have to find creative ways to cut your costs. And you have to aggressively sell your market. So when I go and I'm speaking, I'm not just selling books. Imelda is going around with links to the online course and offering the participants a 25% discount, for that week, for that day or for that week, just so that we can sell online courses, and giving people who will be like, oh, I've never met her before, I want to do a one-on-one with her, the opportunity to do a one-on-one personal finance strategy session with me. So that's the business model. So your business partnerships are very, very, very important. But the final thing, your collaborators, the people who host you when you go to these countries, right? They're the things or the people that can make or break your experience, right? So it's fantastic to want to go to these countries, but you have to carefully choose who you go to these countries with. I have to say that sometimes I feel like I'm actually a real life crazy person, because Nahida Begani from Uganda, Nana Wanjao and Carolyn Mandy from Kenya, Nisha Kanaba and Irene Kiwia from Tanzania. The thing that these amazing, awesome powerhouse of women have in common is that this time last year I did not know them. Like, we didn't know each other. We're strangers, basically. But when I'm going into a country, I need a host who is going to be able to do a number of things. So we have a checklist. I actually have a pitch deck that I send out to potential hosts to say, okay, if I come to Tanzania, these are the things that I need, right? So they need to be people who, first of all, align with your brand. Second of all, believe in what you're coming to their country to do and are willing to use their resources to help you, right? So the thing that these women have in common is this time last year, I didn't know them. So basically, I was getting on a plane like a crazy person and going to countries that I'd never been to before to meet what were basically strangers, right? Okay, so the thing is, there's a bit of luck and then there's a bit of planning and research, that goes into it, right? So first of all, before I go to any country, I have a pitch deck, an actual pitch deck with requirements of what I need from my hosts, so the people who are hosting me. So they need to have a few things. So one, they, have to have the clout to be able to get us like media. So I need TV interviews, radio interviews to be able to promote the events and my book in those countries, seeing as they're a relatively new market. People who have connections like, oh, I have a friend who owns a hotel and they can let you stay there at a discounted rate or for free in exchange for social media posts, that kind of thing. So for example, in Uganda, Nahida had a distribution network for me. So she knew stores I could stock my book in that were in the mall. So that was great. In Kenya, as soon as I got to the airport, Nana and Carolyn had organized this Mercedes with a chauffeur and a concierge service that came to pick me up from when I got off the plane to get in the car, to take me to the hotel. And this driver was there every single day, my entire week in Nairobi, to take me from everything to radio interviews at 6 o'clock in the morning, to meetings for planning the events and all of that. Like, to make sure that I got everywhere seamlessly. Nana, was amazing. But I have to say that every single host has a different kind of personality and vibe. So in Kenya, Nana and Carolyn are more like prim and proper. They're the kind of women that I like because they're just about the business. they're not really interested in being your friend. They just want to get it done. They came here for a purpose. I didn't even meet Nana in person until the morning of the event, the main event at Strathmore Business School. It was the most seamless and amazing process. She had all these media interviews, radio, TV booked back to back to back. So in Tanzania, Nisha Kanaba and Irene Kiwia, amazing girls. Like, so girls that you can have fun with, but they still get it done. So Nisha has a lot of important relationships. So for example, my main event in Tanzania at the Seacliff Hotel, she spoke to the owner and they allowed me to have the event there for free. Nisha also introduced me to the Entrepreneurs Network, EO. It's one of the biggest peer-to-peer networks for entrepreneurs in the world. So the Tanzanian chapter basically organized a power breakfast for me. Nisha introduces me to Miranda and Kati, and they basically organize it so that they host a power breakfast for me and they pay for my hotel stay. Again, Nisha had a car and a driver for me, you know, at the airport. So you're in a foreign country, you need to be able to get around and all of that. But I did have one bad experience. The person who was supposed to initially plan the Uganda leg of the trip was a mess. So even if I sent, you know, out a deck to say these are things that we need, she's the kind of person who talks a big game but can't follow through. So she has like Sam K's personality, my friend in South Africa who planned my South African book tour, without the execution to back it up. So I basically got on the plane, got to Uganda, and do you know that I never saw this girl? like she said, yes, we're going to have a press conference, we're going to do this, don't worry about it, you know, like, and I thought, wow, who does this? Someone gets on a plane and comes to your country and you don't have anything together. A few days before I was coming to Uganda, she was still struggling with the venue, but luckily one of my friends, Umfo, had introduced me to the marketing officer for MTN Uganda, and he introduces me to Nahida Begani at the last minute, and Nahida basically took over, got me a venue, you know, did her best to basically salvage it and made Uganda work for me based off of the fact that she had a distribution network to help me sell my books. So that's how we salvaged that situation. But it was a big lesson for me, because even if someone talks, you need to make sure that they can back it up before you actually get on the plane because you put yourself in trouble. So I'm lucky that, you know, most of the people that I get to work with are amazing. They're go-getters. They're, you know, they're fun to hang around with. Like in Tanzania, you would see pictures of me on a boat. We were having meetings in Dar es Salaam, but we're like on a boat at the yacht club, because Irene is like, listen, if they don't want to give us this media thing, we'll go and get, you know, the actual power players or influencers who will make sure, you know, that this stuff happens. So yes, collaborators, hosts are the thing that will make or break your book tour. So you have to really, really do the work to make sure that you're working with the right people and that you're working with people who are willing to navigate with you even when things go wrong. And so look forward to more videos.